Oh shit! It's the Great Satan. Fucking episode 31, I believe.
Wow.
This is Mr. Travis Jackson, my guest this week. We should almost call you like a half co-host at this point. You've been on more than the other co-hosts. I think this will be episode 5 for you.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds accurate. Well, you utilize your white privilege for the good of the cause, man. I mean, you are out there in the movement, and you're out there in the movement making movement. So yeah, it is an honor to be on this wonderful podcast with you at all times.
Yeah, I've loved every time I've had you on. It's been fun, man.
Yeah.
So love it. Today, this morning, actually you and I punched up. Let's go into this one. You and I punched up one of your old articles that you wrote about Biden being being the like nominee for the Dems, and we kind of like reframed that in context of recent current events with like the DNC deciding things and whatever. So we were talking. The article originally was about just sexual assault and Biden being a rapist. And then now it's kind of more important to tell people in a clear and full voice that he's not just a rapist, he's also a racist.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A white moderate.
Right. So,
undercover KKK.
That's right. So his pick for Kamala, his pick of Kamala Harris, or whether it's his pick or not, it's done by, the DNC. They decided that Kamala was going to be the pick, so we kind of reframed it to include that new information. So that was fun typing an article up with you.
Yeah, I loved it.
Love that. Collaboration is the way to do it. So,
yeah.
But kind of, the main big points of it that we didn't get too much into is they are also just using her for her skin color,
Exactly. Yeah, it's all about drawing in the black voters.
Right. Because Biden stepped on his foot so many times, or eating his foot, or whatever you want to say, in terms of like saying, if you don't vote for Democrats, you're not black, and then saying black people are a voting block, like they're one people,
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much things that he has said that is so like white moderate. It's not even funny. And man, it's I got, I just have a lot to say about that. Like I said, I thank you for inviting me on this podcast yet again.
Hey, I love having you on. So, in terms of, do you want to get into Kamala first? Or you want to get into Biden first? Like, who are we shit talking about?
We can start with the head honcho as of right now. We can start with the white moderate.
Let's do it.
Yeah, man.
Super predator, right? So we got super predator guy that's like demonizing black youth forever ago. We got his mishandling of Clarence Thomas appointment, his victim blaming in that regard. Lies, him being a rapist himself or a sexual abuser at least. Whether literal rapist or not is to be, we believe, but we use the language abuser to say, even if he didn't do this part, we know at least he's done something, right?
Yeah. He's definitely a touchy candidate. If you catch my drift when I say touchy, he when I first I don't want to say encounter, but when I first knew about Biden, it was during the testimony of Anita Hill, which happened in the early 90s. And I was knee high at the time, but I was old enough to understand that women are gender, women are the most oppressed sex or gender in just the world, period. So during her trial or during her testimony, and this photo is still shared amongst many Americans to this day. You see him leaning in the chair like this, looking like, okay, blah, 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 like shut the hell up. Okay, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And next thing you know, Anita Hill was looked at as a piece of, as garbage.
Mhm.
And I blame him as being one of the people who encouraged the the garbage look of her. I blame him
Right.
because he played a key factor in making a decision to kick or to not include Clarence Thompson as a Supreme Court Supreme Court judge. So I feel like with him, it's just he's a white moderate, and we all know what Malcolm X and Martin Luther King had to say. With those type of individuals, they claim allyship, but really they're all lies. Instead of being allies, they are all lies.
Right.
And yeah, so then another thing with Biden, he supported the "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" law,
Big time.
which was a discriminatory law towards LGBTQIA military veterans.
Right.
And then the list can just goes on and on and on and on. He was the author of the 1994 crime bill, which we already know what that was all about. That was as the war on drugs, as Reagan set that up to target minorities. He set that bill up claiming, oh, I just want to decrease crime. No, honestly, you increase crime, you increase police brutality.
Right.
So I was 10 years old when that bill came out. And I can remember being affected by it because, I wasn't a criminal or anything like that when I was young, but I was a young black person in America.
Right.
I saw how effective that bill was. And it reeked, especially when it came to first time marijuana users, they got punished twice as worse. And that also increased the Central Park's 5 outlook as well too.
Right.
And Trump supported that bill as well.
Right. Exactly. It changed culturally. It had a huge impact. Like we often kind of look back on funding things and like these economic motivators that are, we think of them as like it only increased militancy or it only created higher funded police departments, but it actually had a huge cultural impact as well, because it normalized like talking points like Hillary and Bill Clinton and and Biden himself. Those super predator comments were not said in a vacuum. They were on TV, in the news, and it made people that were young and black guilty until proven innocent, in a way that was, it, of course, throughout American history has been the case, but it made that first and foremost again and new, in the post-civil rights world in a way that had not been the case in the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah.
Really, really, really disgusting to think about. I was 11 at the time, but even I remember, that shift culturally.
Yeah, and thanks to that crime bill increased mass incarceration, and it definitely increased federal agents just going into like less fortunate neighborhoods or majority black neighborhoods and kicking in their doors in the wee hours of the morning because they suspect that there was drug trafficking in those areas. But in reality, you just want to be an asshole by kicking in people of color's houses and making them cry and making them suffer, by hog tying them up in their houses while they search because they claim they have a search warrant. That's what the crime bill did. And that crime bill still resonates to this day.
Right, exactly. And like when people talk about even 9/11 and the Homeland Security stuff, none of that shit would have been possible. None of the phone tapping, none of the NSA stuff none of that Homeland Security stuff would have been possible without that crime bill in the 90s.
Yeah,
People would have
exactly.
not been ready for that next step. So when we talk about our hatred of W or Cheney or Trump, who utilizes those same systems of oppression, we can't say those things without expressing first a open-eyed, clear, clear hatred for Joe Biden as well.
Exactly. And that's why I've lost so many friends throughout this week, man, because I speak my piece. And even I'm not gonna say this friend's name, but she revealed that she was a white liberal. Now, I've known her for several years, and the word liberal never came out of her mouth until election year. And
Right.
it's funny because white liberals, white moderates, and white feminists, they always want to show their ass during election year. But man, but the years before an election year, oh, they're like quiet like mosquitoes.
Right.
You don't hear anything at all from them. But when it's election year, hello everybody,
Right.
this is me. Why are you so mean? Why are y'all so aggressive? He's our only chance to make America better and stuff. And I'm like, yes, that is true. However, I will never forget his toxic past towards minorities. And that crime bill, that was the dagger right there for a lot of people. But guess what? People still kiss his butt because, oh, he's our only hope. And that's bull. That's bull.
Yep. Yeah, I mean the easiest, and I haven't punched this article up yet, but I was gonna have you do basically, what you did today with me, which was where we kind of co-write some changes thing. I was doing I'm trying to find one time in American history where voting, right, electoral politics made a positive change, not a negative change, or a cut the knees off of a progressive movement change, but a positive change in American history. And I can't find one time, right? I went all the way back to the beginning of the progressive era, before the Civil War even started. I'm talking about every time an electoral victory was won by the left, it was always this compromise. It was always this half measure, and that always ended up costing lives. It always ended up stifling the movement, not pushing it forward.
Exactly. Hey, good luck with your search, man.
I know. It's impossible to find. I was trying to find one example of any really doing anything productive, and in American history, we haven't found it. Now, during the at the local level, during the progressive era, there was we had a socialist governor of Wisconsin.
I remember. Yeah,
and we've had some major positive change from that. Of course, funding of small militia groups that killed cops, cool shit like that, right? But I've not found any at the national level where voting helped anything.
Yeah.
So,
and honestly, to be blunt with you, you're probably not. You're not.
I gave it another 2 weeks of just searching. Sent out a mass little email, little text, said, "Hey, find this to some history major type friends of mine," because I'm trying to give it at least you got to be balanced, right? You got to say, well, here's all this negative shit that happened. Give me one. I just need to find one cool thing that happened because somebody got elected to an office.
Yeah.
And, long term, I can't find it.
Yeah. Like I said, good luck with your search, man. Because a lot of people, man, and I'm gonna say this, and this goes back to me losing friends because I speak my mind too much. Black voters are not stupid. Like a lot of them, especially I'll say the majority of black voters, we know what the fuck is up.
Right.
It's wise if you are a white person, and I'll share this. If you are a white person and if you're out there and if you're and if you're questioning your black voters or telling them how they should vote or how they should be outraged at a systemic racist government, then you are a racist. No ands if or buts about it. There's a difference between talking for Black voters and talking over Black voters. And that's the case that I faced amongst my out of nowhere white liberal friends over, this past week. One white liberal told me that I changed. Another white feminist, she told me that how in the hell can you say the things that you say and you represent and you volunteer at a reproductive justice organization? It's weird. Yeah, tell me about it. So, of course, I smile and I try to give, just like anybody that I encounter, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
But you're not going to blow smoke up this Black voter's ass. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. I will equally hold every single politician accountable, just like I do, with myself.
Right.
And like I said, you're going to have to work hard to get this Black voters acceptance. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not just going to roll over and be like, oh, he's our last hope.
Right.
Bow to us.
Right.
You kiss my hand.
Right.
Nuh-uh. There's no compromising with this Black voter. I'm sorry.
So we weren't going to get too into reproductive justice and national politics, but it is really interesting how uneducated or maybe even just misinformed a lot of a lot of those every 4 years cicada white liberals are about how much of impact the Supreme Court can have on that. Right. So they go, oh, what if RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is going to die? And then what happens? Well, look, she is not an activist or any kind of left judge. Right. So it shows how little they actually know about reproductive health care and reproductive justice in the legal system in America when they say shit like, what's Biden going to do? Who's going to get approved? Who's going to get in? Because from a legal standpoint, Roe versus Wade is fucking solid, right? What is not so solid is local issues. We're talking about at the state level, what little things they can do to stop access. The battle we need to be having is not with, these little, like, we're doing defense when we do Supreme Court battles, right? We're having to hold the line. We're not going to get new freedoms, right? Yeah, abortion is healthcare, but healthcare is not a human right in this country. We don't have a health system, right? Healthcare is not guaranteed to every man, woman, and child in this country. So the battle we need to be having in terms of reproductive healthcare, we need to be doing everything we can, volunteer, have our umbrellas out, save these women's anonymity from harassment and being doxxed by anti-choicers. However, we need to be thinking about the offensive. We need to think about health justice, period. Reproductive health is health, right? Reproductive healthcare is healthcare. And we need to be thinking about the future, not the past, not holding what we have, but gaining actual human rights that everybody deserves.
Exactly. I totally agree with what you just said. And then also, I've had one of the friends that deleted me. Actually, she blocked me. I love it.
Fuck 'em!
Right? She told me before she blocked me, she was like, "You used to be so nice. Now you're such an ass."
Ooh.
And I was like, "Thank you. Thank you for giving me that compliment because I know I'm on the right side and I know I'm speaking my piece and I'm calling a spade a spade."
That's right.
So I like how the way you also said we need to be focused on what we can do for the future. That ties into what I'm about to say. If you do not if you don't vote for Biden or anything, I encourage you to focus on your local and state elections.
Right.
Because like you said about Roe versus Wade, that is the law of the land.
Right.
But imagine if there was no Roe versus Wade, that abortion ban that was signed in Alabama, that would have made everything in effect. But due to Roe versus Wade and many people becoming knowledgeable about that law of the land, that's why like all these abortion bans, that's why they're getting struck down as as unconstitutional.
Right.
So we need to focus on local and state elections. We need to focus on getting Phyllis Hall into the Alabama's congressional District 2 position. We definitely need to keep Doug Jones in there, even though he is kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'd rather have him than have a football coach as my damn senator. You know
Right.
what I mean? And we just need to focus on keeping, and we also need to be focused on the national congressional races. Mitch McConnell, for example, his ass got to go.
Right.
He got to go because if it wasn't, because thanks to Mitch McConnell and
isn't Mitch the one that we were trying to primary? We had a primary, and didn't Amy McGrath steal that? And so
yeah.
So Mitch is going to win.
Oh man, please don't say that. Oh,
I'm telling you, because she's
hold
basically him, but with military service.
Yeah.
Her opinions are identical to his. She just got a D next to her name. So I'm telling you, I'm not. I wouldn't be excited if I lived in that district. I wouldn't be excited if I was phone banking for her, like we did. You remember Doug Jones? I mean,
Oh yeah.
we were phone banking for Doug Jones. We didn't go, hey, let me tell you about Doug Jones. We said, hey, let me tell you about Roy Moore. Right?
Exactly.
So all we could do was defense. We could say, hey, you've got to defeat this evil. Right?
Yeah.
And if that's all you got, it's going to be it's going to be a close race. And I don't think McGrath has it. I don't think she can do it.
The only thing that I will say one thing about McGrath, and it is negative. Yep. Her primary opponent, I forgot his name, but what's that?
I also forgot his name.
I forgot. I forgot his name,
but I forgot his name now.
Yeah, he would have been a perfect candidate to go against Mitch McConnell. And I say that because he knew because one, he's not like these black people who are complicit to systemic racism. He knows what's up, and not only that, during this Enough is Enough era, he sacrificed his own personal time to attend these Black Lives Matter rallies.
That's right.
Those are the politicians that we need. We don't need somebody that's going to sit up there and say, I'm for the cause, but then when when it's time for you to step up your game for the cause, you want to play video games at home. We don't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Either you is or you ain't. You can't be neutral when you want to stand up for systemic racism, which is why I'm not a big fan of white moderates, white liberals, and white feminists, because they want to be neutral.
Right.
Yeah. We don't need that.
Maintain this I win no matter what, right? No matter what happens, I'm fine.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
It don't work like that.
Charles Booker.
Okay, Dan. Yeah.
Charles Booker. Founder of Hood to the Holler. Coalition building, people-centered movement that was about igniting new people power, transforming. So it didn't matter. It was kind of like way before that, like Rednecks for Black Lives, but it was very similar to that in concept. It was about coalition building between rural and urban America. So it was a very cool movement. He definitely should have won that election. If it weren't for some definite fuckery, he would have won.
Yeah, that ties into voter suppression too.
Big time. Yeah, that's the other thing. How are we going to get people excited to beat Mitch McConnell when the thing that we have to get them to beat it, is doing voter suppression, is spending $4 million to beat the people's champion, this guy with on the ground organizing experience, and that's the crazy thing is he lost his primary and he's still doing more for the people than she is.
Yeah. It's scary, man. It's definitely scary, but I would be focusing my votes on the local and state level, and try to keep as well as trying to keep Congress as try to keep them as try to vote on the right people for Congress.
Right.
Because man, Congress has more power than the president, and they turn these bills into laws.
Right.
And some, like the majority of these laws, are laws of the land.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer that if Mitch McConnell was not the Senate leader, I am a firm believer that Trump would have been impeached. But him and Trump are like buddies, you know what I'm saying? So I was shocked about it.
Yeah.
I was real shocked.
That's right. Let me pause 2 seconds. We're back. Man, I've been drinking a lot of water today.
It does the body good, man.
That's right. Staying hydrated. Drinking white male cis capitalist tears.
Hey, speaking of that, look, coffee boy. Male tears.
Tears.
Yeah.
So we started and we got sidetracked right away. We were going to talk about Kamala. We didn't really get too deep into her. In terms of like, I don't know, like not social, but like in terms of material, how do you think this is going to impact not the race, but like whether she wins or they win or lose? How is she going to govern differently from, a white version of her, right? Like a Penn or a Trump.
Yeah. If they do win, which I can see it happening. Who knows with all the stuff going on now? I will say that Biden fucked up by picking a cop apologist. I mean, let's take into consideration with this enough is enough era or Black Lives Matter era that you're seeing right now, with all these cops and what the police are doing, or as I like to call them, the Ku Klux Klan. You see how they're treating minorities at these Black Lives Matter rallies or protests, and then in the middle of all of this, you had to pick a cop apologist. I will give her her recognition. She has made history. Hey, respect. I respect that. But at the same time, like I said earlier, I'm that type of black voter that's not going to kiss your ass. I'm going to analyze you from head to the tip of your toenail, and I'm going to not only focus on your pros, but I would like to see your cons of what you have done. And she has a shit ton of cons.
Right.
Like we cannot forget her powerful impact negatively on mass incarceration when she was the attorney general. Right. This is the woman that supported Biden in his crime bill of 1994. This is the same woman that also supported the war on drugs, which put away first-time offenders who were marijuana users. Instead of putting them on probation, she was a real tough, a top cop on locking them up. And the majority of those first-time offenders were Black or people of color, and that includes Hispanic, Asian, Jamaican, and biracial people as well too. So she has, to put it more bluntly, she has screwed over Black people. And my fear is now that she is running with Slow Joe, you know what I'm saying, Lion Biden, however you want to call him, it's gonna be interesting, man. It really is. But like I said, a lot of black voters are not stupid, and we know what's up. And like I said, that's why I lost a lot of friends. Because yes, she has made history, but this black voter ain't gonna kiss nobody's ass. I'm gonna call it like it is.
And we didn't get into this, but out of all those friends you lost, how many of them are white?
Oh,
woo! Let's say 100% or 90%.
I wish I could show my feet and count the toenails too, but I would like to say 90%.
Yeah.
90%, 10%, 90% were white and 10% were Black. And the Black friends that I lost, they told me that I was a traitor to my race.
Damn.
Yeah. So I have had some tomatoes thrown at me, like the rotten tomatoes, man. I've had.
That's fun, man. That's fun. It's weird.
Yeah.
See, that's another one of those things. Like you're held to a completely different standard than I am because I'm saying
Yeah.
the same shit, exact same shit, right? Yet, your peer group holds you to this shucking and jiving standard that I'm not held to, right? I'm allowed to be an individual, right? So there's like a
Yeah.
moment to reflect on a certain kind of privilege that I have. I have a privilege to be an individual, right?
Hmm.
I am not looked at as my entire race, as a voting block, as a anything. I am me. And you are this placeholder. You're not an individual to them. Those people that unfriended you said what they were saying was, you're not jiving with what my idea of black voters are supposed to be. So you don't get to have an opinion that makes its way into my ears or my
Exactly.
or whatever. And they're erasing your opinions and your voice.
Yeah. And it's like being a black voter is like, and especially me being a man of color, being a black voter is just is in America a sin to the systemic racist government. And so being black in America is like damn if you do and damn if you don't.
Mm.
Like I can't tell not only from the white race, but I can't tell from the black race. I can't tell from both. And it's like I'm in the middle. And whenever I speak now, now if you speak your piece, there's a high chance that people will listen. But if I speak my piece, people are going to question me. They're going to critique me. You know what I'm saying? And so with those friends that I lost, especially one in particular, it was like she critiqued every single thing that came out of my mouth. Until one day I called it like it is. I told her, white liberalism is not anti-racism.
Right.
And that's what she revealed. Oh well, I'm a liberal. What does that mean? And I just was blunt with her. I said, have you studied Malcolm X? She was like, yeah, but what does that have to do? And I said, okay, here's a quote that he came up. I'm not reading that. I don't have time for that.
Right.
So goodbye.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I understand what you're saying, though. It's like, damn if you do and damn if you don't if you're a black voter.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, last time you were in Hoover was about 2 weeks ago. But this past weekend, they had like a pop-up protest, and I don't think you made it up for that one. It was an E.J. Bradford sit-in, basically, and just
Yeah.
it was super chill. Everybody shows up. I think we both saw live videos of it. Neither of us were there, we should say, but people were there was a lot of people there early on. Some elderly people got out early, luckily. People involved with the magazine that you and I both write for, Populist Mechanics, shouts out, and Automotive Free Clinic, whatever. They showed out. That was cool, and but they didn't get fucked up. But 13 people were arrested. We saw pepper spray used indoors.
Yeah. It's y'all fucked up, man.
Yeah, folks were tased. How many people were it was like 3 or 4 people got tased. One dude had a bail of $4,000.
Yeah. One protester did.
Yeah.
Now and then, what was so interesting about that is that protester is a key organizer for these protests in Hoover, and so it is no doubt that they were targeting that specific protester.
Right.
And that protester was also pepper sprayed. To the point where I think they left her. I think they left their phone at the mall, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of people that was watching this, and the only thing they were doing was sitting down. They had they were exercising social distancing, and they were sitting down, just calling off chants. And all of a sudden, 13 protesters, peaceful protesters at that, they were violently arrested.
Yeah.
And some one girl had a cop's knee on her back.
Yeah.
And other girl, she was screaming, get the hell off of me or whatever like that. I mean, it was just a madhouse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's trauma. I mean, that's something that they will never forget.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Stays with people. And then, kind of back to what we started with, do you think that same exact thing would have happened if Biden was president instead of Trump, or if Hillary was, you know what I mean? Like, do you think the president matters to how these cops are going to act in terms of our options right now?
Yeah. As we all know, Biden and Kamala Harris, they are not supportive of defund the police um, slogan, and they're not and they're not accepted. They're not accepting of it. So yes, the same thing would have happened, because people don't realize when we say defund the police, it's not saying it's not saying just take the money away from them and that's it. No, their pay needs to be decreased, and those funds need to be reallocated towards resources to help those who are brutalized by the police.
Right.
Yeah. So, but of course, Lion Biden and Kamala Harris, they're not supportive of that. So yes, I believe that the same thing would have happened if Biden was president.
That's right. Or any white moderate for that matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter. And I almost say it would be worse because they're going to undercut the movement. That both of them have tried to paint BLM protests as white anarchist agitators. They both in speeches have tried to say that this is not about Black lives, this is not about the police, whatever. They try to make it about anti-government or whatever that it's not about. It is a simple abolitionist movement, right? Where we are saying this system of white supremacist patriarchy needs to stop. And
exactly.
They've painted it as this like, oh, well, it's just these white kids that want anarchy or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's predictable as all hell,
Yeah.
It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
But our options, it's good though too that our options are not electoral, right? We know that we can't fix this just at the voting booth the way it is. We have to get if we're talking about electoral politics, we have to get in there and primary people of both parties, depending on how gerrymandered a district is. We need to infiltrate the Republicans, we need to infiltrate the Democrats, and put real progressive policies forward in ways that are actually going to get elected and win elections, and not shame people that say they're not going to vote. Give me a reason to vote.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the main reasons why that's one of the main reasons why I will still, like my article stated, that I published. Well, I want to say published, but that I posted. Okay. Right. Yeah, that's why my article was very blunt in saying that I will write in Bernie Sanders, and for vice president, I will write in Alexandria Cortez.
Right.
Because those two individuals, they supported not just defunding the police, but they knew the reason why Black Lives Matter movements were movements. Right. You know what I mean? They're not on this white moderate bullshit where, oh, I support the movement, but then when you see the movements making movements, then you want to sit back and suck your thumb and complain, well, they're too aggressive. Like, what the hell do you expect in a global epidemic moment? You know what I mean? Like, we need to stop voting in these people that are white moderates, white feminists, and white liberals. You know what I'm saying? And we just need to start. We need to start implementing like righteous leaders, like the ones that are not going to take sides but take solutions on social issues. And I'm just so fed up, man. Like, black people have been screwed over and over again for over 400 years due to the leaders like Biden, Harris, Trump, Pence. I mean, hell, it's like, damn if you, like I said earlier, damn if you do and damn if you don't.
That's right. And so I know you did an interview this morning with Times of Israel.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, you're the furthest left person they've had on in, or in their magazine in weeks and weeks and weeks. So I just want to end today by saying free Palestine.
Yep.
Just to make sure that they know where you stand on that, that you support oppressed people all over the world, not just reproductive health rights in America, but also everyone's right to exist throughout the world.
Exactly. Yeah, unless you're anti-choice or anti-equality or anti-human or civil rights,
That's
then nah, I'm not. Yeah, I refuse to compromise with those type of individuals.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So, Travis, thank you again for coming on. Travis Jackson, Black Moses. This is Jason Fifi. This is The Great Satan, episode 31. We're wrapping it the fuck up. I got to post your article. Speaking of posting, I got to figure out how to make that thing go. I'm bad at interneting, right? You know, the internet that everybody's supposed to be good at because it's 2020. I'm bad at it, so I got to figure that out. I'm going to make that thing go. I may have it posted by the time this goes up. If so, I'm going to put it in the description. If not, then it'll be in the comments. Thanks again. I'm going to love having you on again.
Oh, no problem, man. Thank you for what you do. Godspeed, bro.
I appreciate you.
No problem.